It's August 5th, 2024. It's a Monday, and that means it's time for another Mining Disrupt news surge. Everything that you see here is for entertainment and education purposes only. This is not financial advice. If you're interested in partnering with us as a sponsor of this segment, please reach out. This week, the news isn't quite as jam-packed as it was coming out of the Bitcoin conference from Nashville, but there is still plenty to talk about. Let's get into all that after we touch on the numbers. Here we are on timechaincalendar.com, and Bitcoin has dipped a little bit. We're going to be talking about that. We're looking at an exchange rate of $59,136. You'll get yourself 1,691 sats for $1. Those fees, ladies and gentlemen, those fees are still low. Anytime is 2. Priority is 4, and you can't see it, but the public nodes reachable right now, 19,887. And the block times after that rather significant jump up in difficulty is a 10-minute and 39-second block average right now. After I recorded last Sunday, this came out from Cynthia Lummis, and it was shared around from plenty of people. The University of Wyoming establishes a Bitcoin Research Institute. On Monday, Hong Kong lawmaker pushes to include Bitcoin in strategic financial reserve. Where have I heard the strategic financial? That's getting a lot of talk these days. Stack Hodler is talking about not needing to sell your Bitcoin, not needing to sell the most pristine asset in existence. He's talking about the buy, borrow, die strategy. You buy something, you borrow against it, and you roll that over indefinitely. Cantor Fitzgerald is a U.S. financial institution that works directly with the Federal Reserve. Is this a sign of things to come? It's certainly a sign of something to come, but is this what you and I will be doing if we want to use the purchasing power of our Bitcoin? Will we actually spend the Bitcoin? Will we sell it? Or will we borrow against it? Marty Bent is the main guy that I know of, at least, behind TFTC. He says here, U.S. government moves $2 billion worth of Bitcoin to a new address. Where is that Bitcoin going? What are they doing with it? Do they have plans? Do they have something going on, cooking in the pipework? Something maybe strategic reserve, possibly, maybe, who knows? Here on Tuesday, Michael Saylor is quoting Bill Miller IV, and he says, "We now have additional companies coming out and saying we're going to put Bitcoin on our balance sheet as a strategic treasury asset." This whole idea of Bitcoin being a strategic asset or strategic reserve, a strategy that is being employed, is being talked about more and more and more. And I don't think that's going to slow down anytime soon. On Wednesday, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about, but there was one tweet from Beef or Bacon. I just saw it, it popped up, and it stood out to me. It says right here, "Most of you prefer the USD exchange rate of your stack going up rather than your stack going up. It's sad." I think it's important to remember that it isn't so much what your Bitcoin is worth in relation to some currency. It's how much Bitcoin you have that's going to be what really matters down the road. Moving on to Thursday, there was something that I mentioned a couple weeks ago. It was the Quant Bros, and it was when Adam Back and Samson Mow were on there. And I believe it was Samson Mow asking them, do you think MicroStrategy is going to stop buying? Do you think you're going to see fewer companies adopting this Bitcoin reserve asset idea? Do you think you're going to see less and less of that? And everybody on the chat was like, no, of course not. And to that point, here, MicroStrategy acquired an additional 169 Bitcoin for $11.4 million. And there's talks of them looking to acquire $2 billion to buy more Bitcoin. They are not slowing down. Still on Thursday, this from Fox Business, new Van Eck CEO says Bitcoin will be worth half the market cap of gold and break $350,000 per coin. Now, the final bit of news coming out of Thursday is this from Zach Herbert. He says, "Massively excited to show you all what we've been working on for the last 18 months. It's not a hardware wallet. It's an entirely new category of device." And if you're not familiar with Zach Herbert, he is the CEO and co-founder of Foundation. They make the Foundation Passport. What is it they're working on? I don't know, but he says it's going to be announced later this year. I am intrigued. On Friday, British Hodl tweeted this: "Morgan Stanley has just allowed its wealth advisors to pitch Bitcoin to its advisory clients. the first wealth management bank to do so in the USA. Watch the dominoes fall swiftly. The advisors are no longer coming. They are here. Get to 1 Bitcoin. On Saturday, Cathie Wood announced that ARK is going to donate a fixed percentage of revenue to OpenSats to fund open source Bitcoin contributors in perpetuity. This did not get nearly as much attention as I think it should have, because that is huge. Now, on the mining side of things, this is something that you, if you mine, are aware of, but this is something that you should absolutely share with people that have questions or qualms about the electricity side of things when it comes to Bitcoin. Because as Alex Gladstein here points out, electricity matters because it is the ultimate poverty killer. Short clip from my keynote in Nashville. There are no countries, not one, that has abundant energy, just tons and tons of energy, but everybody's poor and destitute and not doing all that well. Also on Saturday, Cynthia Lummis again. It's official. S4912, the Bitcoin Act of 2024, has been introduced and referred to the Banking Committee. You can follow along at congress.gov. And on Saturday, Samson Mao tweeted this. On Friday, nearly $3 trillion was wiped from the stock market. Remember, during the numbers I talked about the Bitcoin price dipping. As investors readjusted their portfolios, their investments in Bitcoin vehicles went first, which is why we saw huge ETF outflows. This isn't because they don't believe in or want Bitcoin anymore, but because Bitcoin is likely the only thing still in the green since early this year, or the only thing that held up well during the market sell-off. Being pristine collateral is a double-edged sword during times of fiat foolery. The long and short, the TLDR here is that Bitcoin trades 24/7, 365. And if people need cash for whatever reason, they need money now so they can do something with it, they're going to sell the biggest money maker for them. And it looks like, according to most charts, that's Bitcoin. That's going to do it for this week. I hope you have a great rest of yours. See you next Monday.